Oh, the humanity, Lando Norris. He looked for a second like he was every bit the competitor to Maximilian Verstappen's throne. You forgive me for believing I bought into the recency/confirmation bias too. Lando Norris looked amazing, like a world beater around a Dutch Zandvoort Grand Prix as an example. Every bit as quick as Maximilian Verstappen. We all got hope, didn't we, in the F1 community, that we were going to see a close championship for once, that Lando Norris had all the tools in his artillery, not insubstantial tools, to keep Max honest through to the end of this season. Oh, how wrong we were, ladies and gentlemen. And I think I'm just now understanding exactly how wrong I was. The extent to which your boy Cameron CC was off the mark. I keep on getting recommended 2016 Brazil on my YouTube feed. I'll go back and watch it. The onboard of, I don't think I've ever combed through it. And I know there's an argument in the community going on currently. Which of the Brazil drives was the best? 2021, Lewis Hamilton. 2024, in the wet, Maximilian Verstappen. And 2016, Max Verstappen. You know, I think 2016 was the premium. Was the pole sitter, upper echelons, potentially Maximilian Verstappen, still his best drive, 2024 Brazilian Grand Prix notwithstanding. The things he was doing around that track, Lando Norris wouldn't even dream of doing. Listen, for the avoidance of doubt, if it's wet and you're racing Maximilian Verstappen and your name is not Sir Lewis Hamilton, you are racing for second place. None of those other bods, as brilliant as they are up and down the grid, stand a chance. And you forget that in 2016, how old was Maximilian Verstappen? 19 years old. He barely had himself a license. That's who we're dealing with. And it's only 10 years later. You're not going to tell me that it hasn't matured and got better since. This is a very difficult automotive Rubik's Cube for which the other 18 on the grid need to solve. Let me tell you about 2016 and what this dude was doing. Karting line, each and every single time, exploring for grip, different levels of traction. He's able to brush up against the line of traction because he's so brilliant at saving a cheeky snap oversteer. He doesn't fear it like the others. Felipe Nasser, who is that? Went around him like he was going backwards. So too Nico Rosberg and Daniel Ricciardo. And again, for the avoidance of doubt, in 2016, when Maximilian Verstappen put down a generational driver around a range strewn Interlagos, that fella was only 19 years old. That's why you had Niki Lauda, legend of Formula One, doing one of those, doffing his cap to one Jos Verstappen, father of Max. So how very dare Lando Norris say these words? Simply lovely on the back of a brilliant Dutch Grand Prix. Too soon, Lando Norris. Far too soon. Less talk, more action, sir, if indeed you harbour hopes to challenge a Max Verstappen one day down the road, because it will not be this year. Lando Norris has behaved and spoken as if he's on work experience, brand new to the situation and circumstance. Don't believe me? Well, pre the Brazilian Grand Prix, Will Buxton interviewed Lando Norris for F1 TV and asked him a couple of questions. He was quizzed on whether the person, the man inside the cockpit, the driver with his visor down, can be a different entity even from the person when they get outside the cockpit. Here's what Lando Norris had to say. Verbatim, by the way, I quote, "It's my first time being in this situation." When he was quizzed on his ability to have that split personality, he says, "I don't know. I'm quite split. In some ways," says Lando Norris, "you think how somebody can be personally and how you can get along with people, and you can be so different to how you are on track. It's such a different world there on track." It does trouble him, doesn't it, Lando? He continues, "It's my first time being in this situation, and time will tell how that changes." Of course, he's talking about his relationship with Maximilian Verstappen. For once upon a time, they were friends. They would travel in the same private jet to and from Grand Prix race weekends. He continues, "It might not always be the right thing, but we always do what we believe to be right, and we always do what we believe is best at the time. Lando continues. He, in Max Verstappen, is doing what he has to keep me behind him in the championship because he, Max Verstappen, is under pressure. Lest we forget, this is this dude talking going into the Brazilian Grand Prix. Oh, the humanity. Max Verstappen is under pressure. 3, soon to be 4-time champion. What are we doing here, ladies and gentlemen of the F1 jury? Irony is a thing, and it's never, ever in its life been better epitomised by Lando Norris's words pre the Brazilian Grand Prix. He continues, not only is Max under pressure, but Red Bull are under pressure, and neither one of them, as at the time of writing, are delivering. As a team in McLaren, we've overtaken them. Ferrari have overtaken them. They're doing their best. We're doing our best. And the more pressure we can put on them under these circumstances, the more of those type of unforced errors they will make. Oh, the humanity. What are we doing, ladies and gents? This is nonsense, boxing baloney. And he's not the only one to talk all of that smack. Will Buxton said of Lando Norris's chance of winning the championship this season, not next, 2024, that Lando Norris, I don't think he can win. Will Buxton said on the Fast and the Curious podcast, I think Lando Norris will win. Backing him that hard again, drinking from the waters of the ostensibly better car. Car, of course, matters 60%, some will say, as far as its contributing factors to outcomes in Formula One, championships and races. But Max Verstappen, per Toto the boy who cried wolf, has been making the difference for the longest time this season. For the avoidance of doubt, Toto said that Red Bull aren't winning races in 2024. Max Emilian Verstappen is. And whilst they were once friends, let me explain to you how those two are different, Max and Lando. Because Max, on the Brazilian podcast, spoke to the very same circumstance. Here's what Max had to say on his rivalry with his once upon a time friend Lando Norris. For me, Max says, shrugging his shoulders, for me, ends on the track. I can easily switch when we're not racing. As soon as I leave the track, I focus on other things, says Max, like friends, like family. Racing is an important part of your life, but it's not everything. Some people take it too seriously, Lando Norris, and it's also good to switch off for a while. Maximilian Verstappen continues. We all want to win and you do everything for that. I hate losing, so when you race to win. That's how I look at it, and I live my life. Some appreciate that more than others, Lando Norris. That's why I'm a 3-time world champion. Amen, Maximilian Verstappen. I couldn't have put it better. Forgive me. Forgive us, for we know what we did once upon a time. When Lando Norris said simply lovely, he summoned up the dragon that was Maximilian Verstappen, and it was never going to go well for him then. There is a time to banter an opponent. I fear Lando Norris does not know the time or the place. Saying simply lovely, bantering Maximilian Verstappen at his home Grand Prix, the Dutch at Zandvoort, was never going to end well, and it hasn't ended well for Lando Norris. He's awakened the beast. We saw Maximilian Verstappen at the Brazilian Grand Prix put down a drive for the ages, not dissimilar to what he did in 2016. And I say this only to say this, that Lando Norris doesn't have it for Maximilian Verstappen, that there are levels to this F1 game, many levels, that winning isn't for everybody as far as F1 Championship are concerned. Only the great ones can get it done. When under the most pressure, the ability to seek the best out of yourself in the face of adversity is the realms of the very, very good and the great. Lando Norris is not there, nor, by the way, may he ever will be. Who knows? This is all the uncertainty. But one thing is for sure that we can say going into this weekend's Las Vegas Grand Prix is that Maximilian Verstappen, notwithstanding his multitudinous naysayers, is absolutely there. He's been there since 2016, doing things that very many F1 drivers, peddlers in history, are capable of. Facing down adversity as he did last race weekend at the Brazilian Grand Prix, as if it's just normal. Racing round in the wet, as did Senna in 1993 in Donington. This dude is a little bit different. This dude has other stuff. He understands more than most More than nearly any F1 peddler in history, the tax needed to pay requisite to do great things in an F1 car around these F1 tracks. Ergo, F1 is a zero-sum game. Maximilian Verstappen is the epitome of the tax requisite to winning championships. Not just one, not just 2 or 3, soon to be 4-time champion. Lando Norris, what are we doing here?